Why, happy Monday to you, my friends! It is time for another weekly preview video, where in this one we get to upgrade our Mechanist classes, we get some bounty events over the weekend, and we get some Tower of Doom, so some Flameforged scrolls for your Doom crossbow, and not the weapon. But let's jump in and see what's going on this week in Gems of War. Things off, we've got Tower of Doom with red weapons. This time around it is this one. It's the Doomed Opus. Doomed Opus is your typical Scully mana mixy kind of thing based on red enemy things. It's not great. You can use it on Guild Wars defense, but aside from that, it's pretty much never used. So that's out there. I recommend you get up to tier 4 to make sure you get yours. Beyond all of that, please make sure you are tracking your Tower of Doom within your guild, use guild chat, use various resources that are available, make sure that you're working together. As far as teams you could use, this is one that's going to be taking advantage of the Shield of Urskaya, which is going to give a ton of armor to Gaard's avatar, which will then in turn blow up everybody on the other team. Got lots of mana making with Yao and Gimlet, so we'll have tons of barriers, tons of mana generation, tons of damage, happy times. Separately, if you feel like being a little bit safe, you could do something like this, which is a Yasmine's Pride with the Divinia, and then Yao and Ketras to just blow people the crap up. Use your Yasmines on a couple people and then just hurt the world. You'll have cleanse, you'll have all the health you could possibly imagine, and tons of blamming. That's your second one. Or if you feel like being classic, here's a Mang build with a Yao and then a couple Skull Converters. This should also get it mighty done. For those folks with less stuff, this is going to also get it done. It's using a Mang with a bunch of converters. Anointed one will help you get more red mana for everybody, and then Fist and Apophisis are just going to get you tons of skulls. So use this one if you don't have a lot of toys, but you still feel like blowing up everything in the tower. For the event keys this time around, it is Adana. Adana, the kingdom of super beefy animal, robot people, and Tesla. So, Adana has some pretty decent troops that are worth opening up event keys for. Tina, of course, is very much a PvP staple if you do Guild Wars, if you do PvP. Tina's tons of true damage is obviously going to be super fun. They are also very spell resistant, and they can do a crap ton of skull damage if they happen to get into the top slot. So, Tina, pretty cool. I wouldn't go crazy trying to get her, but she is in there. Someone else who is really nice, however, is Tesla. Tesla is basically a very much event-style oriented troop. Since they're going to be doing true damage based on ally and enemy armor, if you have any method of increasing armor, or just don't even have any way of increasing armor and you're just fighting scaling enemies, using one Tesla or two Teslas is a great way to do a ton of true damage in events. But aside from that, nothing else in here is too crazy. Alchemist, of course, is very much a PvP Guild Wars staple, so if you don't have yourself a copy of Alchemist, you should get one relatively quickly if you start opening up event keys. But that's everything as far as Adana is concerned. I would say medium priority as far as event keys are concerned. If you don't have Tesla, definitely worth trying to get yourself one or two of those. I wouldn't go absolutely crazy trying to get a Tina, however they are very much a fun mythic to have. In the Glory Shop, we got ourselves a new Pantha, with an A, and Pantha is all about just doing true damage to somebody, but then potentially just straight up killing them, I guess, based on their armor on a 5-to-1. So this actually will be very reliable as far as killing people in later events. So if you can imagine the other team has like 200 armor, let's just say. 200 armor is going to net you, what, 40% extra to kill? So like there's a 50-50 chance it'll just kill people. And since you're doing true damage, you're never really reducing your chance to just straight kill people. So in events, if you don't have like a reliable way of killing people outright, this troop could actually be useful. Not in the earlier levels of events, but as you get higher and higher, like this troop's like potency will go up. So that's kind of weird. I don't imagine I'm going to use them, but that is kind of cool. Beyond all of that, traits, some skull reduction, some skull dodge, that's fine. It's not a loopable troop. It's not something I would really want to run in the top slot. I'd probably want to protect this troop and use it to snipe out enemies. So that troop's interesting. It's out there in the Glory Shop. Get yours today. Get your Arcane Beast trait stones right now. In the Soulforge, we've got ourselves some okay stuff. So Elamagram I'm not the biggest fan of. It's very hard to loop properly with purple people, and the amount of purple it's making isn't too crazy unless you start trying to do some weird stuff with burning enemies, a little hard to use. Voice of Orpheus, very much my highest priority craft of all of these this time around. Voice of Orpheus is just such a good Guild Wars troop, or a PvP troop in general if you care about cleansing, because it has access to cleanse constantly. Anytime you match any yellow gems, you'll have your entire team cleansed. Beyond all of that, Voice of Orpheus himself is never going to lose this ability unless he gets hit with like an Essence of Evil twice in a row, because he's impervious, which means you can't make him stop. Never stops. His nuke is pretty decent. Damage boosted by all ally enemy, based on all ally mana. He also cleanses everyone when you cast it, and then he just gives people mana on top of that. So Voice of Orpheus, very cool utility troop, decent nuke damage potential. Suna, not the best. Fairy firing people randomly with red is okay. This thing is okay. If this had any kind of looping mechanics, this would be more fun, but as it stands now, you'd have to cast Suna a few too many times for my liking to be effective. Queen of Sin, decent daemon team person. They're gonna bless everyone on your team that's a daemon. They also do true damage to a couple people and summon a couple decent daemons, but as far as what they do, it's not really all that crazy. So, of all the mythics this time around, Voice of Orpheus gets the nod as far as what you should be crafting this time. For the weapons, this is where things get a little less obvious. So Mecha Axe and Drill Shooter on paper feel very similar. They're both basically doing mixes based on more or less mech troops. This one in the Mecha Axe is a lot more consistent because it is purely doing it based on mech allies, so it's a lot easier to create mech teams than it is to create pure Adana teams. So in that way, Mecha Axe is probably more useful. However, Drill Shooter, when you level it up, gets an ability to just straight kill people 10% of the time. So when you do this, 20% of the time. So when you upgrade this weapon, it'll actually just sometimes just straight up kill people. That's kind of fun. But again, it's using pure Adana at this point in time. So the Mechanist class is obviously the only class that's going to get the most value out of either of these. But at least the Mecha Axe is going to let you have more team variety you can play with. Drill Shooter is the better weapon on paper, however, since the troops it's working with are pure Adana and not just mechs, it's a little more limited in its use. So I can't exactly tell you which one's the higher priority. I would personally say Mecha Axe is more useful. Drill Shooter is a little more fun, weird, but Mecha Axe is probably going to be your more consistent weapon to use in the long term. Neither of these are the highest priority crafts, however, you know me, I say you craft all of them. So if you have to craft one, my personal recommendation would be the Mecha Axe, but if you can craft both, well, that's hunky-dory too. And that will take us to the spoiler. On Tuesday, it is Manithrax Faction Assault time. Did you have fun faction assaulting over the weekend? Great. Well, now you can faction assault some more on Tuesday in a Manithrax with this team. On Wednesday, it is a pet rescue for Sir Botlet 4. Sir Botlet 4 is probably the most dapper dude you've ever seen in your life, so make sure you grab this dude on Wednesday. On Thursday, it is a class event for the Mechanist. Mechanist is unfortunately not my favorite class, however they are pretty decent. So this is giving all mechs 50% mana start, that's already pretty cool. Immune to Frozen is whatever. When we get to the talent trees, you do get Guardian, which means you will get access to Banishment if you get it up to level 70. However, the Wind and the Knowledge trees are pretty much the worst in the game, so unfortunately, it's basically like you have 2 dead talent trees and the Guardian tree. So the Mechanist class, I'd say, is worth getting to 70, but you never know exactly when mechs are going to rise in power and take over the world. If you're trying to run through the event, there are a few teams that I've got for you, and by a few I mean 2. This is the team that I plan on using, which is going to be using a Mountain Crusher with a Carnex, an Athena, and a DRACOS. DRACOS is really here just to be cheeky and fun. I could use 2 Tinas if I had a second one, I think I might. But either way, this is going to be used to basically just get Tina mana and blam people, and DRACOS is there to just shut people down and maybe sometimes just kill people. But you'll have tons of defense, you'll have an easy time with this one. The other team you could try would be this one, which is going to be using Tankbot 2000 and the new Pantha troop. Both of these troops are doing some stuff, so this guy's doing true damage to somebody, this guy's doing some true damage to somebody. So basically this team is survive with these 2 troops by getting mana and kill people slowly with these 2. You should have barriers which will allow you to get all the way through. So these are the 2 teams that I would recommend you use for the event. Then on Friday, it is time for the bounty event, baby. Bounty event means that you are going to be running through with all of the troops that you can that have the bounty trait, so always just type in the word bounty here and you will see all the troops available to you that you could potentially use. Bounty events, of course, always come with a bounty captain. This time around it is going to be the Mecha Rat. Mecha Rat is kinda great, only it's not. So this is removing brown gems, which means it's not giving you mana, it's just getting mana off the board. So brown gems go away, you gain gold for some reason, and then there's a chance based on your gold to summon more rats. So the troop is, as far as I'm concerned, is basically a complete zero. So the teams that I've built this time around to survive are going to basically not use it. So this one is going to be using Ridgeback, Soldier of Wrath, and Tigraki Warrior. Soldier of Wrath and Tigraki are both true damage dealing people, so this will get you tons of mana. The empty slot down here is where you're just going to chuck your Mecha Rat and pretend it doesn't exist. You're just going to use Ridgeback and these two people to get yourself through. That's what you can start with. Potentially, if you're looking to end it, you could use a team that looks like this. Instead of Warwolf down here, just put the Rat. But this is going to be a Ridgeback with a Pharaoh, Hound, and a Yao. This will get you lots of goodness all the way through to the end as well. So those are the two teams that I would recommend you try for the bounty event this time. And that is everything for the week as far as the PC, mobile, Xbox, PlayStation side is concerned. Let's jump into our switchy switchers. Switch folks, you have yourself a raid boss, and this weapon is available in the shop at tier 3. It's the Grudge Keeper. It creates a mix of stuff based on Kazil. So this is all your dwarfy people basically, or your Rune Priest class. So if Rune Priest is your favorite class on the planet, you might just love the heck out of this weapon that's there. But I always recommend you get up to tier 3 to at least get the weapon, but run on through and enjoy yourself some Zool Blammin' this week. In the Glory Shop, you guys have the Thunderforge. Thunderforge is super underwhelming. It's giving armor to somebody and then only 4 attack, non-scalable. And if they're a dwarf, you get double, so this is giving dwarves tons and tons of armor. Kind of not great. So I would recommend you get one, or get as many as you want to get as many keys as you want. You do get 2 arcane shields for every one you get, so it's at least worth grabbing some of those. But overall, the troop is not going to be used. Soulforge time, and you guys have the king himself in the Soulforge. So if you do not have a Possessed King and you are tired of seeing me make 10,000 teams that have him on it, now is your time to be part of the club and get yourself a Possessed King. He is easily the highest priority craft in the Soulforge this time around, so please, please, please make sure that you get yourself one before you cry and cry and cry that you don't have one. Also in there is Voice of Orpheus. If you happen to be loaded in diamonds or happen to already have a Possessed King, Voice of Orpheus would be my next one. Voice of Orpheus is your cleansing king. He is cleansing everybody on your team anytime you match yellow gems. He's also impervious himself, which means it's really hard to turn off this ability, so you pretty much guaranteed have cleanse all the time. Also, he nukes pretty darn hard, and then he cleanses again when you cast him just for fun, and then he gives people mana. So Voice of Orpheus is a really strong utility troop. Usually he's run in the last slot or the second to last slot, and you just kind of passively leave him there, and every now and then cast a spell if you got nothing else to do. Voice of Orpheus, really, really strong craft. And on Friday, you guys also get a bounty event. So for you guys, the bounty event is coming with this bounty captain, which is the Excavator. Really strong red mana generator. So he's destroying a column, which means you get all the mana in that column, but then he creates 5 reds, and then he creates an extra 2 for every brown that you catch. So if you catch like 2 browns, he's creating 9 red. But if you catch like 3 or 4, then you're going to create yourself a ton of red. So using troops like Pharaoh, Hound, or the Tigraki Warrior, or the Soldier of Wrath, all of those troops are going to go very, very nicely. With that guy, Soldier of Wrath takes red, Tigraki Warrior also takes red. So running those 2 guys with an Excavator and a Pharaoh Hound sounds like a really good bet to smash on through with everything. Also later on in the levels, you could use a team that looks very much like the team that I put together for the folks on the other side. You can basically run an Excavator in your top slot with a well, you don't have Ridgeback yet, but Excavator in your top slot with a Pharaoh and a Yao, and basically any other troop you have that can survive. I would run something that looks like that for the end. A bounty event this weekend starting Friday. And that is everything for everybody. Is this the week that I come back and do streaming properly again? I sure as hell hope so, because holy shit do I miss streaming for you guys. So hopefully we'll have our streams. The schedule, of course, is over there. Jump into my Discord if you always want to know when I go live and you don't have to just sit around waiting like an idiot. You can just know exactly when it's going on. But that's all I got for you guys this week. Enjoy your bounties this weekend. It should be very bountiful as far as orbs are concerned. And I will see you in a future video, a future stream. Love you guys. See you next time. Peace.